So they said, why not they asked the permission of God that can we see also hell if we have a chance, because then we can decide, you see, whether we want to be here or there. You see, that is what the ego is, you must have choice. So they went to hell, and when they entered the first big hall, they found all kind of music was going on, funny type of music, and like Halloween, you have all kinds of dirty things, and the women were dancing nude, and the men were singing nude, and they were doing all funny things there, which we call funny. So they said, this seems to be a better place for a change, because drinking was free, everything was free there, drugs, all nice things. So they said it's a very nice place. So the people who were in charge said, what are you doing here? They said, we've come to visit the hell. Where is the hell? So they said, you can see from this hole, and they took them to a hole from where they could see the picture of hell. And there they found people hanging on top of fire, or they were put in the boiling oil, and they were put in the dirty mud, all kinds of things. And they were horrified. And some were whipped very badly, and I don't know, all kinds of punishments that are there. So they got a fright, and they said, now, if that is hell, what is this in this hall? They said, this is the advertising department of hell. So that is the advertising department, about which, you see, one should be quite knowledgeable to know what is the advertising department of hell is.
Oh, very well then. I won't go at all. So there.
Well, don't imagine that I care about going in the least. I've been only trying to please you. Of course, my feelings are a matter of no importance. I quite understand that.
But that's 2 places gained.
This sort of thing really makes one think twice about going at all.
What sort of thing?
Well, this is hardly the sort of society I'm used to, as a matter of fact.
Huh? Don't you stand any sauce from him? You're not afraid of him, are you? Not good enough for you, are we, huh? Don't take nothing for lip. I'm a simple man. That's what I am. And you see, I gotta have my rights, like everyone else.
We will never all get in.
Change places with you for 5 cents.
Looks like he had a good time, eh?
Who does he think he is?
Bloody pleased with himself, I bet.
My dear, why can't he act naturally? Does he think he's too good to look at us?
I thought you wouldn't mind my tacking on to you. For I've noticed that you feel just as I do about the present company. Why on earth they insist on coming, I can't imagine. They won't like it at all when you get there, and it'd be really much more comfortable for them to stay at home. It's different for you and me.
Well, do they like this place?
As much as they like anything. They've got cinemas and fish and chip shops, and advertisements, and all the sorts of things they want. The appalling lack of any intellectual life doesn't worry them. I realized as soon as I got here that there had been some mistake.
Whoa! We've left the ground.
You know, I bet I'll be the only one who's not going to be on the return journey.
Seems the juice of a town. That's what I can't understand. The parts of it I saw was so empty. Was there once a much larger population?
Not at all. It's just, the trouble is, people are too quarrelsome. As soon as anyone arrives, they settle in some street and have a quarrel with their neighbor. Finally, they move all the way out to the edge of town, and they build a new house. You see, it's easy here. You can just imagine it, and it's there. That's how the town keeps on growing.
Leaving more and more empty streets?
That's right, but time's sort of odd here, you see. The place where we arrived is thousands of miles away from the bus stop. People only arrive there through gradual removals over centuries.
You mean, if they had to live on that, they'll spread indefinitely?
That's right, unless someone does something about it. As a matter of fact, between you and me and the wall, that's my job at the moment. It's scarcity that enables a society to exist, and in a place where you can imagine anything you want. There's no economic basis for life. So that's why, when I come back, I'm gonna try to get some real commodities. Anything you could really eat or sit or drink. There'd be instant demand for it back in town. I'd make a nice tidy little profit and be a public benefactor as well.
Do you mean, if they had to live together, they'll learn to gradually quarrel less?
Well, I don't know about that. You see, there could be some sort of police force, knock some discipline. Well, anyway, it's better, People would gather. Safety in numbers.
Huh? Safety from what? But look here. If you can get everything just by imagining it, why would you want any real things, as you call them?
Well, like houses that actually kept out the rain.
Their present houses don't?
Well, of course not.
What the devil's the use of building them then?
Safety. Or at least the feeling of safety. Later on, you understand.
What? Speak up.
It will be dark presently.
I mean, the evening is really gonna turn into a night, in the end. What's that got to do with it?
Well, no one wants to be out of doors when that happens.
What? Who? Who are they? And what are you afraid they'll do to you? And why should they come out when it's dark at night? And what protection could any imaginary house give if there was any
Here, who's
danger?
talking all that stuff? Don't speak if you want to hide something, see? Sparing rumors is what I call it. Shut your face, Ike!
Quite right.
Scandalous.
Ought to be prosecuted.
What does he think he's talking about?
My dear boy, I couldn't help overhearing parts of your conversation. It is astonishing how these primitive superstitions still linger on. What we now see is the promise of dawn, the slow turning of a whole nation towards the light. What our friend here speaks of, for real commodities, is materialism only. It's retrogressive. We look at this spiritual city for all of its faults. It is still spiritual, as the husbandry for the creative functions of man, as it starts to become freed from the clogs of matter, and as it begins to try out its wings. A sublime thought.
When I saw the catch or death of cold,
Smack him one good and hard! You never go back unless you want to. Stay as long as you please.
Don't you know me?
Well, I'll be damned. I wouldn't have believed it. It's a fair knockout. But you know then. What about poor old Jack? That's what I say, Jack.
He's here. You'll meet him soon, if you stay.
But you murdered him.
Of course I did. It is all right now.
All right, is it? Easy for you to say. But what about the poor old chap himself, lying cold and dead?
But he isn't. I have told you. He sent you his love.
What I'd like to understand is why you, as pleased as Punch, is here while I've been walking the street down there, living in a bloody pigsty all these years.
That is a little hard to understand at first. But it is all over now. You'll be pleased about it presently. Till then there is no need to bother about it.
No need to bother about it? Aren't you ashamed of yourself?
No, not as you mean. I do not look at myself. I've given up myself. I had to, you know. After the murder, that's what it did for me. And that is how everything began.
You know, personally, I ought to believe we would have been the other way round.
Very likely we soon shall be, if you start thinking about it.
Listen now. I've gone straight all my life. I don't say I was a religious man, nor that I had no faults. Far from it. But all I'm saying is that I've done my best by everyone. And all I'm asking for is my rights. I never asked for anything that wasn't mine, by rights.
It would be much better not to go on about them now.
I'm just telling you the sort of chap I am, and that I haven't got my rights.
Oh no, I haven't got my rights, or I should not be here. And you won't get yours either. You'll get something far better. Never fear.
I'm asking for nothing but my rights. I'm not asking for anybody's bleeding charity.
Then do at once. Ask for the bleeding charity. Everything is here for the asking and nothing can be bought.
That may be very well for you. If they let in a murderer at the last moment, all because he makes a poor mouth, that's their lookout. But I don't see myself going in the same boat with you. If I would have had my rights, I would have been here a long time ago. And you can tell them I said so.
Can never do it that way. Your feet will never grow hard enough to walk on our grass. You'll be tired out before we even get to the mountains. And it isn't exactly true, you know.
What isn't true?
You weren't a decent man. And you didn't do your best. None of us were, none of us did. God bless you, doesn't matter. There's no need to go on about that now.
You have the face to tell me that I wasn't a decent chap?
Of course. Must I go into all that? I'll tell you one thing to begin with. Murdering old Jack wasn't the worst thing I did. That was the work of a moment, and I was half mad when I did it. But I murdered it in my heart. Deliberately. For years. I used to lie awake at night, thinking what I'd do to you if I ever got the chance. That's why I've been sent to you now. To ask for your forgiveness, and to be your servant as long as you need one, and longer if it pleases you. I was the worst. But all the men who worked under you felt the same way. You made it hard for us, you know? And you made it hard for your wife too. And for your children.
You mind your own business, young man. I'm not taking any impudence from you for my private affairs.
There are no private affairs.
And another thing, you can clear off. See, you're not wanted. I may be only a poor man, but I'm not making pals with a murderer. If I had you back there, I'll truly show you what work is like.
Come and show me now. It will be a joy going on to the mountains. But there will be plenty of work.
You don't suppose I'd go with you?
Don't refuse. You'll never get there alone, and I am the one who was sent to you.
So that's the trick. I thought there'd be some damn nonsense. If they're so fine with having you without me, then I won't go. That's what I'll do. I'll go home. I'll go home. I didn't come here to get treated like a damn dog. Damn a blessed old pack of you!
My dear boy, I'm delighted to see you. I shall never forget some of our talks. You became rather narrow-minded towards the end of your life, but no doubt you broadened out again.
How do you mean?
Well, it's obvious by now, isn't it? Why, my dear boy, you are coming to believe in a literal heaven and hell.
But wasn't I right? Where do you imagine you've been?
Ah, I see. You mean that the great town is in a sense heaven, if we only have the eyes to see it. Wow, that's a beautiful idea.
No, that is not at all what I meant. Is it possible you don't know where you've been? You were in hell.
Now, there's no need to be profane, my dear boy. That is so like you. And no doubt you'll tell me why I sent there.
But don't you know? You went there because you're an apostate.
This is worse than I expected. Do you really believe that people are penalized for their honest opinions, and for the sake of this argument, that those opinions were mistaken?
Do you really think there are no sins of intellect?
They are, Dick. For honest opinions, sincerely followed, they are not sins. Mine certainly were honest. Not only were they honest, but they were heroic too. I preached my famous sermon. I took every risk!
What risk? What was at all likely to come of it, except what actually came? Popularity, sales for your books, invitations, and finally a bishopric.
Dick, this is unworthy of you. What are you suggesting?
Friend, I'm not suggesting anything at all. You see, I know now. Let us be frank. We were afraid of crude salvationism, afraid of ridicule, afraid above all of real spiritual fears and hopes. Oh, as you love your own soul, remember, when did we put a moment's real resistance to the loss of our faith resulting from our inquiry?
Well, it's a point of view. I'm far from denying that young men may make mistakes. The point is that they were my honest opinions, sincerely expressed.
Of course, the beliefs are sincere, because in your mind you believe them to be true. But errors which are sincere in that sense are not innocent.
This is a point of view. Certainly, it's a point of view. But in the meantime...
There is no meantime. We are not playing now. I have been talking about our past only that you may turn from it forever, start anew. It is all true, you know. He is in me, with that power for you. You are in hell, and now you are in sight of heaven. Will you now repent and believe?
But my dear boy, I do believe already. You've completely misjudged and misunderstood me. If you do not understand that my religion is a very real and a very precious thing to me.
Very well. Will you believe in me?
In what sense?
Will you come with me to the mountains? It will be difficult at first, until your feet harden. Reality is harsh to shadows. But will you come?
Well, that is a plan. I am perfectly ready to consider it. Of course, I should require you to guarantee some insurances. I should require my usefulness, an atmosphere of free inquiry, and, of course, spirituality.
No, I can guarantee you none of these things. You're absolutely not needed there. I can only offer forgiveness for having perverted your talents. I will bring you to the land not of questions, but the land of answers. And you shall see the true face of God, the absolute truth.
But we must interpret those beautiful words in our own way. I must insist on the free play of mind, you know.
If you can't seek answers, can you at least still desire happiness?
Happiness, my dear Dick. Happiness, as you'll come to see when you become older, lies in the path of duty. Which, of course... Wait, that reminds me. Of course I can't come with you. I've got to read a paper to my little theological society next Friday. But you've never asked me what my paper is about. I'm going to point out how Jesus was a comparatively young man when he died. He would have outgrown some of his earlier views. I'm going to ask my audience what his mature views would have been. Ah, what a different Christianity you might have had. Oh, must you be going? Well, so must I. It's been a pleasure talking to you, my dear boy. Most provocative and stimulating. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. City of God, how broad and far. Oh, city of God, how broad and far.
Hold. Put it down. There is no space in hell for it. Stay here and learn to eat such apples. My very leaves and the blades of grass and the wood will delight to teach you.
Go away. Can't you see I want to be alone?
But you need help.
If you have the least trace of decent feeling left, you keep away. I don't want help. You know I can't walk fast enough with these horrible spikes to get away from you. It's abominable of you to take advantage.
Then what is the matter?
Can't you understand anything? Do you really suppose I'm going out there, among all those people, like this? You can literally see through me.
Oh, that'll soon come right. But you're going in the wrong direction. It's back there, to the mountains you need to go. You can lean on me all the way. I can't absolutely carry you. But you have to have almost no weight on your own feet and will hurt less at every step.
I'm not afraid of being hurt. You know that. Do go away. If you can't understand, there'd be no good trying to explain it. How am I supposed to go out there, like this, among a lot of people with real solid bodies? It's far worse than going out with nothing on would have been on earth. Have everyone staring through me.
Oh, I see. But we were all a bit ghostly when we first arrived, you know. That'll soon wear off. Just come out and try.
But they'll see me.
What does it matter if they do?
I'd rather die.
But you've died already.
I wish I'd never been born. What are we born for?
For infinite happiness. You can step right out into it at any moment.
But I tell you, they'll see me.
You know how there were things too hot to touch with your finger, but you could drink them all right? Shames like that. If you'll accept it, if you'll drink the cup to the bottom, you'll find it very nourishing. But if you do anything else with it, then it scalds.
You really mean?
Yes, come out and try.
No, I can't. I tell you I can't. For a moment, while you were talking, I almost thought, when it comes to the point, you have no right to ask me to do such a thing. It's disgusting. I'd never forgive myself if I did. Never. Never. It's not fair. They ought to have warned us. I'd never have come. And now, please, please go away.
Friend, could you, only for a moment, fix your mind on something, not yourself?
I've already given you my answer.
Thinking of going back? Well, I don't know. Are you?
Yes,
I guess I've seen about everything there is to see. You don't think of staying? All that idea of staying here is just an advertisement stunt. There's never any question of us being able to stay. Human beings couldn't live here, can't eat or drink anything. It's all propaganda after all.
Then why did you come?
Oh, I don't know. Just to have a look around. You know, I'm the sort of chap who likes to see things for himself. I've been pretty well everywhere. The pyramids, Taj Mahal, Niagara Falls, even Salt Lake City.
And what was that like?
Not worth looking at. They're all advertisement stunts. All run by the same people. It's a combine, you know, a world combine. They just take an atlas and decide where they have a site. It doesn't matter where, anything will do as long as the publicity is properly managed.
And you lived down there in the town for some time?
What they call hell? Yes. It's a flop too. They lead you to expect red fire and devils, and then you get down here, and it's as good as any other place.
I prefer it up here.
Well, I don't see what all the talk is about. There seems to be some sort of idea that if one would stay here long enough, he would become, well, solider. It's all a lie. I know all about it. No, through 2 wars, what didn't they tell us about the good time coming? If only I were a good boy and go get myself shot at. It's the same old lie.
But who are they? Is this run by someone different?
Italian new management, eh? You don't believe it. It's never new management. Didn't we find that both sides on the war were run by the same armament firms? Or the same firms that are behind the Jews and the Vatican and the democracies and the dictators? All this stuff up here is run by the same people as the town. That's the little joke, you see.
I thought the solid people were here. They were here to help us.
Of course you did. That's the official version. That's what they want you to think. But who's ever seen any signs of it? If they wanted to help us, they could. There seems to be some war between good and evil, but they don't want to do anything about it. Besides, wants to be saved anyway. What the hell would there be to do?
Oh, there.
Quite. They've got you either way.
Look, there doesn't seem to be much point in going anywhere else. But hey, at least it's not raining here.
Not at the moment. I've never seen one of these bright mornings that didn't turn into rain after. Ah, you hadn't thought of that? You hadn't thought that with the sort of water they have up here, every raindrop will make a hole in you like a machine gun bullet? That's the little joke, you see? On that, I'm out, my friend.
This is no place for me. I don't belong here.
Where are you going?
I don't quite know.
You can sit and talk with me then.
Well, I don't know you, sir.
My name's George. George MacDonald.
Oh! Then you can tell me. You won't at least deceive me. Reading your book, sir, has changed my life. Through you understood holiness and learned...
Son, your love. All love is of inexpressible value to me. But I already know all about your life. In fact, it seems that your memory misleads you in 1 or 2 particulars.
Well, I do have a couple of questions. About these ghosts. Do any of them stay? Can they stay? Is there any real choice offered to them? How do they come to be here?
See, the damned have holidays. Excursions, you see.
Excursions? Excursions to this country?
See, for those that will take them. Of course, most of the silly creatures don't. They prefer taking trips back to Earth. To go play tricks on folks, you see.
If they come here, can they really stay?
Aye.
But I don't understand. Is judgment not final? Is there any real way out of hell into heaven?
See, son, it depends on how you're using those 2 words, heaven and hell. See, for those that leave that grey town behind, it will not have been hell. It's purgatory. And you best not call this country heaven. Instead, you can call it the valley of the shadow of life. And for those that stay here, it will have been heaven from the first, as well as their life on earth will have felt like heaven as well. And you can call that grey town the valley of the shadow of death. And for those that remain there, it will have been hell from the beginning. See, that's what mortals misunderstand. Heaven, once attained, can turn all agony and suffering into glory and joy.
Then those people are right who say that heaven and hell are only states of mind.
Hush. Do not blaspheme. Hell is a state of mind. You've never said a more true word. But heaven is not the state of mind. Heaven is reality itself. All that is fully real is heavenly.
But is there any real choice after death?
See, son, you can't fully understand the relation of choice and time until you're beyond both. And what concerns you is the nature of the choice itself, and that you can watch them making.
Well, sir, that also needs explaining. What do they choose, these souls who go back? And how can they choose it?
Right. See, there's always something they insist on keeping, even at the price of misery. And there's always something they prefer to joy, that is to reality. But come, lean on my shoulder. Let's go for a walk.
Oh, it's much easier to walk now. Since the solid people were full of love, why did they not go down to hell to rescue those ghosts?
See, son, every one of us lives to journey further and further into the mountains. And every one of us has retraced immeasurable distances to come down here today on the mere chance of saving some ghosts. Of course, it's a joy to do so, but you cannot blame us for that. And even if it were possible, we would not journey any further. See, what good would it do if the sane turned mad, helping madmen? But look. God.
God what?
What do you mean, God what?
In our brother, God is now.
Oh, I see. Well, I only meant by gum or something of that sort. You see, all of this, it's... I should like to paint this.
I shouldn't bother about that just as present, if I were you.
Look here, is someone going to be allowed to go painting?
Looking comes first.
But I've had my look. I've seen just what I wanted to. God, I wish I'd thought of bringing my brushes with me.
That sort of things are no good here.
What do you mean?
When you painted on earth, at least in your earlier days, it was because you caught glimpses of heaven and earthly landscape. The success of your painting was that it enabled others to see the glimpses too. But here, you're having the thing itself.
Then there's never going to be any point in painting here?
I don't say that. When you grow into a person, there will be some things which you'll see better than anyone else. One of the things you want to do will be to tell us about them. But not yet. At present, your business is to see. Come and see.
That sounds delightful.
Come then.
So, how soon do you think I could begin painting?
Don't you see you'll never paint at all if that's what you're thinking about?
What do you mean?
If you're interested in a country only for the sake of painting it, you will never learn to see the country.
But that's just how a real artist is interested in a country.
No, you're forgetting. That was not how you began. Light itself was your first love. You loved paint only as a means of telling about light.
Oh, that's ages ago. One grows out of that. Of course, you didn't see many of his works. One becomes more and more interested in painting for its own sake.
One does, indeed. It was all a trap. Ink and paint were necessary down there, but they're also dangerous stimulants. Every poet
musician, and artist is drawn away from love of the thing he tells, to love of the telling, unto down in hell. They cannot be interested in God at all, but only in what they say about him. They sink lower and become interested only in their own personalities and reputations.
I don't think I'm much troubled that way.
That's excellent. Not many of us had quite got over it when we first arrived. But if there is any of the inflammation left, it will be cured when you come to the fountain.
What fountain is that?
It is up there, in the mountain, very cold and clear. When you have drunk of it, you forget forever all ownership in your own works. You'll enjoy them just as if they were someone else's, without pride.
That'll be grand.
Welcome.
But of course, there's always be interesting people to me.
Everyone will be interesting.
Oh, yeah. To be sure, I've been thinking of people in our own line. Should I meet Claude or Suzanne or...
Sooner or later, you still are here.
But don't you know?
Well, of course not. I've only been here a few years. All the chances are against my having run across them. There are many of us, you know.
But surely in the case of distinguished people you'd hear.
But they aren't distinguished. No more than anyone else. Don't you understand? The glory flows into everyone and back from everyone. Like light and mirrors. But the light is the same.
Do you mean there are no famous men?
They're all famous. They're all known, remembered, and recognized by the only mind that can give a perfect judgment.
Oh, of course. In that sense.
Don't stop.
Once must be contenting one's reputation among posterity then.
My friend, don't you know?
Know what?
That we're already completely forgotten on the earth.
What?
Lord love you, yes. You couldn't get £5 of any picture of mine or even yours in Europe or America today. We're dead out of fashion.
I must be off at once. Let me go. Damn it all. One is one's duty to the future of art. I must go back to my friends. We must have a manifesto. We must have publicity. Let me go.
It's quite out of the question. I shall not dream of staying if I'm expected to meet Robert. I'm ready to forgive him, of course, but anything more than that is quite impossible.
But if you have forgiven him, surely...
I forgive him as a Christian, but some things one can never forget.
But I don't understand.
Exactly! You never did. You always thought Robert could do no wrong. You haven't the faintest conception of what I went through with your dear Robert. Oh, the ingratitude. I would have thought he would at least learn good manners.
Please, don't talk like that. But if you come with me, you may still be able to talk to him.
You know what? I believe I've changed my mind. I'll make them a fair out for Hilda. I shall not meet him if that means meeting him and no more. But if I'm given a free hand, I'll take charge of him again. I'll take up my brother once more. Put me in charge of him. He wants fair handling. I know him better than you do.
I'm afraid that will come later. I must consult him first. And we still have a long way to go.
No, what's that? Just give him to me, do you hear? Don't consult him. Just give him to me. I'm his wife, aren't I? I was only beginning. There's lots of things I still want to do with him.
But if...
No, listen, Hilda, please. Please, I'm so merciful. I must have someone to do things to. It's frightful down there. No one minds about me. Oh, I can't alter them. It's dreadful to see them all sinning about and not being able to do anything to them. Give him back to me. Why can he have everything his own way? It's not good for him. It's not right. It's not fair. I want Robert. What right do you have to keep him from me? I hate you.
What happened to her, sir? Son, you see how these feelings fester? They've swallowed her whole. See, one cannot enter the kingdom of heaven until one stops thinking about oneself and starts thinking about God.
Oh, Emily. It's you, is it?
Yes, dear. I know you expected someone else.
I did think Michael would have come. He's here, of course.
He's there, far up in the mountains.
Why hasn't he come to see me? Didn't he know?
My dear, don't worry. He wouldn't be able to see or hear you as you are right now. You'd be totally invisible to Michael. But we'll soon build you up.
I should have thought if you could see me, my own son could.
Well, it doesn't always happen like that. You see, I've specialized in this sort of work.
Oh, it's work, is it? Well, when am I going to be allowed to see him?
Well, there's no question of being allowed, Pam. As soon as it's possible for him to see you, of course he will. You'll need to become more solid.
How?
Well, I'm afraid the first step is a hard one. But after that, you'll go on like a house of fire. You'll become solid enough for Michael to perceive you when you learn to want someone else besides him. A little germ of desire for God is all we need.
You mean religion and all that sort of thing? Well, this is hardly the moment. And from you of all people. Well, never mind. I'll do whatever's necessary. What do you want me to do? Come on, the sooner I begin it, the sooner they'll let me see my boy.
But, Pam, think. Don't you see you're not beginning at all, as long as you're in that state of mind? You're treating God only as it means to Michael.
You wouldn't talk like that if you were a mother.
You exist as Michael's mother only because you first exist as God's creature. No, listen, Pam. He also loves you.
If he loved me, he'd let me see my boy. If he loved me, why did he take Michael away from me in the first place? I wasn't going to mention anything about that, but it's pretty hard to forgive, you know.
But he had to take Michael away. Partly for Michael's sake.
Sure, I did my best to make Michael happy. I gave up my whole life.
Yes, but he wanted your merely instinctive love for your child to turn into something better. But there was, it seems, no chance of that in your case. Ask your daughter or your husband. Ask your own mother. You haven't once thought of her. The only remedy was to take him away.
How dare you say such things about mother love? It's the highest and holiest feeling in human nature.
Pam. No natural feelings are high or low, holy or unholy in themselves. They only go bad when they're set up on their own.
My love for Michael would never have gone bad. Not if we lived together for millions and millions of years. How could anyone have loved their son more than I did? Haven't I lived only in his memory all these years?
That was rather a mistake, Pam. All that 10 years rituals of grief. Keeping his room exactly how he left it, refusing to leave the house, though George and Muriel were both wretched there.
Of course they didn't understand. I soon learned to expect no real sympathy from them.
You're wrong. No man ever felt his son's death more than George. Not many girls love their brothers better than Muriel. It wasn't against Michael they revolted. It was against you. It was against having their whole life dominated by the tyranny of the past. And not really Michael's past, but your past.
You're heartless. Everyone is heartless. The past was all I had.
It was all you chose to have. It was the wrong way to deal with sorrow.
Of course I'm wrong. Everything I do or say is wrong according to you.
We've all been wrong. That's the great joke. You don't need to go on about it.
How dare you laugh about it? Give me my boy. Do you hear? I don't care about all of your rules and regulations. I don't believe in a God that keeps mother and son apart. No one has a right to come between me and my boy. Not even God. Give me Michael, do you hear? He's mine. Mine forever and ever.
He will be, Pam. Everything will be yours. God himself will be yours. But not in that way.
I hate your religion, and I hate and despise your God. Michael is mine.
Is there any hope for us, sir? You see, there's some, but that love of hers for her son has turned into a poor, prickly, astringent sort of thing, you see. But there's still a wee spark of something in it that's not just herself. Something that could really blow into a flame. Look.
Shut up, I tell you!
Off so soon?
Yes. Yes, I'm off. Thanks for your hospitality, but it's no good, you see. I told this little chap he'd have to be quiet if he came, which he insisted on doing. His stuff won't do here, I realise that, but he just won't stop. I'll have to go home.
Would you like me to make him quiet?
Of course I would.
Then I will kill him.
Ah, Mikhail, you're burning me! Keep away!
Don't you want him killed?
You never said anything about killing him at first.
It's the only way. May I kill it?
Well, there's time to discuss that later.
There's no time. May I kill it?
Look, he's gone to sleep on his own accord. I'm sure he'll be okay now. Thanks ever so much.
May I kill it?
Honestly, I don't think there's the slightest necessity for that. I'm sure he'll be fine now. And I'm not in very good health today, and I need to be in good health for the operation. Some other day, perhaps.
There's no other day. All days are present now.
Get back! You're burning me! How can I let you kill it? You'd kill me if you did!
It is not so.
Why? You're hurting me now.
I never said it wouldn't hurt you. I said it wouldn't kill you.
Why are you jeering at me? You're torturing me. How can I let you tear me to pieces? If you wanted to be helpful, why didn't you just kill the damn thing before I knew? If you had it, it would be over by now.
I cannot kill it against your will. It is impossible. Have I your permission?
Be careful, he can kill me. One fatal word from you, and he will. You can't live without me. You'd be only a sort of ghost, not a real man as you are now. He doesn't understand. He isn't natural. Yes, I know there are no real dreams now, only pleasures. But aren't they better than nothing? And I admit, I've sometimes gone too far in the past. But I promise, I won't do it again. I'll give you nothing but really nice dreams. All sweet and fresh and almost innocent. Yes, you might say quite innocent.
Have I your permission?
I know it will kill me.
It won't, but supposing it did.
You're right. It'd be better to be dead than to live with this creature.
Then I may.
Go on, God, you just get it over with. Do what you like. God help me. God help me.
You understand all that's happening here, my son?
Well, I don't know about all, but am I right in thinking that the ghost really turned into a spirit in the end?
Aye, but the lizard was killed first. You won't forget that part of the story, will you?
Well, I'll try not to. But is it true that with everything in us, we can eventually go off into the mountains?
See, son, flesh and blood cannot go to the mountains. Not because they're too rank, but because they're too weak. See, what is a lizard compared to a stallion? Lust is a weak, whimpering sort of thing, compared to that richness and energy of desire, which will arise when lust has been killed.
What is that lovely sound? The light. The beauty.
Is that? No, not at all. It's someone you have never have heard of. On earth her name was Sarah Smith, and she lived at Golders Green.
Well, she seems to be a person of particular importance.
Aye, she is one of the great ones. See, 1,000 liveried angels lackey her, and every child that met her became either her son or daughter. And son, her love shone through whoever felt it.
We are dancing in our mother's joy. 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 We are dancing, dancing, we are dancing. Ooh, we are dancing in our mother's joy. We are dancing, dancing, we are dancing. Ooh, we are dancing in our mother's joy. We are dancing, dancing, we are dancing. Ooh, we are dancing in our mother's joy. We are dancing, dancing, we are dancing. Ooh, we are dancing in our mother's joy.
At last!
Darling. Last. Frank, before anything else, forgive me for all I did wrong and for all I did not do right since the first day we met. I ask your pardon.
There, we'll say no more about it. We'll say no more. We all make mistakes. What's been on my mind all these years is you. You breaking your heart about me.
And now, we can set all that aside. Never think like that again. It is all over.
You miss me?
Dear, you'll understand about that very soon, but
You'll notice she hasn't answered our question. You missed me?
dear friend, you may be happy about that and about everything else. Forget all about it forever.
Of course. It'd be rather magnanimous not to press the point. There was the time we let her have the last stamp in the house to write to her mother, and said nothing, although she had known we wanted to write the letter ourselves. We thought she'd remember and see how unselfish we'd been, but she never did. And there was that other time. Oh, lots and lots of times. I can't forget it. I could forgive them for all they've done for me, but for your miseries.
Don't you understand? There are no miseries here.
Do you mean to say you've been happy?
Didn't you want me to be? But no matter. Want it now or don't think about it at all.
Look here, we've got to face this.
Darling, there's nothing to face. You didn't want me to have been miserable for misery's sake. You only think I must have been if I loved you. But if only you wait, you'll see that isn't so.
Love! Love. Do you know the meaning of that word?
How should I not? I am in love, in love. Do you understand? Yes, now I love truly.
You mean you did not love me truly in the old days?
Only in a poor sort of way. I've asked you to forgive me. There was a little real love in it. But what we call love down there was mostly the craving to be loved. I loved you for my own sake because I needed you.
And now, you need me no more?
But of course not.
She needs me no more, no more! Would to God, I've seen her laying dead at my feet before I heard those words. Lay dead at my feet, lay dead at my feet, lay dead at my feet!
Frank, look at me. Look at me. What are you doing with that great ugly dog? Let go of the chain. Send it away. It is you I want. Don't you see what nonsense it's talking? You know as well as I do that you did see me lying dead years and years ago. Not at your feet, but on a bed in a nursing home. It's ridiculous for that dog to try to be impressive about death here. It just won't work.
You dare laugh at it! Very well. It is fortunate that you give yourself no concern about my fate. Otherwise, you might be sad to think that you've driven me back to hell. You think I'd stay now? Thank you, but I believe I'm fairly quick at realizing where I'm not wanted.
Dear, no one sends you back. Here is all joy. Everything bids you stay.
Yes, on terms you might offer to a dog. I happen to have some self-respect left, and I see that my going will make no difference to you. It is nothing that I go back to the cold, the gloom, and the lonely streets.
Don't, Frank. Don't let it talk like that. Stop acting. It is no good. He is killing you.
Acting? What do you mean?
Quick, there is still time. Stop it. Stop it at once.
Stop what?
Using pity, other people's pity in the wrong way. Pity was meant to be a spur that drives love to help misery. But it can be used the wrong way round, for a kind of blackmailing. Even as a child, you did it.
That is all you've understood of me after all these years.
No, Frank, not here. Our light can swallow up your darkness, but your darkness cannot now infect our light. Could you really have thought that love and joy would be at the mercy of frowns and sighs?
Love! How dare you use that sacred word?
Where is Frank? And who are you, sir? If it were possible, and if it would help, I would go down with you into hell. But you cannot bring hell into me.
You do not love me.
I cannot love a lie. I cannot love the thing which is not. I am in love, and out of it I will not go. Sul mare luccica l'astro d'argento, placida l'onda, prospera il vento. Venite all'agile, archetta mia, Santa Lucia, Santa Lucia.
Is it really tolerable that she should be untouched by his misery? Even his self-made misery?
Could he rather he still had the power of tormenting her?
Well, no. I suppose I don't want that.
See, son, it must be one way or the other. Either the day must come when joy prevails, and all the makers of misery are no longer able to infect it, or else forever and ever, those makers of misery will destroy in others the happiness they reject for themselves.
But dare one say, is it horrible to say that? Is it horrible to say that pity must never die?
See, son, you must distinguish between the two. See, the action of pity, that's eternal. It lives forever. But the passion of pity is not. See, the passion of pity is the ache we merely suffer. It's the one that makes men concede what should not be conceded, and to flatter when they should speak the truth. But the action of pity, that's the one that leaps quicker than light, from the highest to the lowest, to bring healing and joy at whatever cost.
You say I'll go down to the lowest, sir. She didn't even go down to hell with him. She didn't even see him off by the bus.
And where would you have her go?
Yeah, well, where we all came from. Right at the edge of the cliff, over there.
Son, come here. See this crack here? Right here, see this? Yeah. He came up through one no bigger than this. And that bus and all you inside it were increasing in size.
But I saw an infinite abyss, towering cliffs, and this country beyond it. Do you really mean to say then that hell, all that infinite empty town, is in some little crack like this?
Aye. See, all hell is smaller than one pebble that comes from your earthly world. And it is smaller than one atom of this world, the real world.
I see. She couldn't fit into hell. She couldn't even make herself smaller.
See, son, only the greatest of all can make himself small enough to enter into hell. See, the higher that one is, the lower he can descend. Only one has descended into hell. And all moments that have been or shall be, were or are, present in the moment of his descending. See, son, every spirit that lives in prison has heard him preach.
Is that the truth? Then is that all I've been seeing in this country false? The conversations between the spirits and the ghosts were the only mimicry of choices that had been made long ago.
See, son, you're able to see the choices a bit more clearly than you could on Earth. The lens was clearer, but it was still seen through a lens. Son, do not ask of a vision in a dream more than a vision in a dream can give.
A dream? Then am I not really here, sir?
See, son, no. You're only dreaming. And son, if you come to tell of what you've seen, make it very plain that it was but a dream. You must make it very, very plain. See, do not give any fool the pretext of thinking you're claiming knowledge of what no mortal knows. You must make it very plain.
God forbid, sir.
He has forbidden it. That's what I'm telling you.
The morning. I'm caught by the morning. And I'm a ghost.